In the day's other news, Democrats in the House of Representatives challenged President Trump on another front, the southern border. They voted to end the national emergency declaration that allows funds to be diverted from the military to building a border wall. The Republican-controlled Senate already approved the resolution, but the president is expected to veto it. Congress was not able to override a similar veto last March. A federal judge in Los Angeles today blocked the Trump administration's new rules that could permit indefinite detentions of migrant children. The judge said that the rules violate the standards set by the 1997 so-called Flores Settlement Agreement. It barred indefinite detention. The administration is expected to appeal. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani says that the United States offered to lift all sanctions in exchange for renegotiating the 2015 nuclear deal. Rouhani returned to Tehran today after attending the UN General Assembly in New York. He said European leaders there brought him a message.
They said America was saying it would lift the sanctions. Another issue under discussion was which sanctions would be lifted. The Americans had clearly stated that we would lift the entire sanctions.
Hours later, President Trump claimed that Iran asked for sanctions relief in return for a meeting, but he tweeted, quote, "I said, of course, no." Meanwhile, Iran today released a British-flagged tanker that it had detained in July. Iranian state TV showed the ship leaving port. It sailed to Dubai so that the crew could disembark and undergo medical checks. The vessel was seized after British authorities in Gibraltar stopped an Iranian oil tanker suspected of violating European sanctions. The British released that ship last month. In Afghanistan, millions of people are preparing for tomorrow's presidential election, despite Taliban threats of violence. In Kabul today, armed police were preemptively deployed to polling stations, but potential voters were divided on whether to risk the Taliban's wrath.
If, like previous elections, fingers would be chopped off, no security, I personally will not go to vote.
At any cost, we will go to vote and elect our leader. We support the Afghan security forces ensuring our security.
President Ashraf Ghani is seeking re-election to a second term. His chief executive, Abdullah Abdullah, is his main rival. Security forces in Egypt moved today to prevent new mass protests against President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. Popular demonstrations in recent days targeted poor living conditions and corruption. Police vehicles took up positions all over central Cairo today. There were still scattered protests, but el-Sisi dismissed them and the claims of corruption.
This is an image being painted as was done before, comprised of lies and defamation and some media working to present an image that isn't true. We're really strong. The country is really strong. So don't worry about anything.
Egyptian authorities have carried out mass arrests in recent days. Human rights monitors say that at least 1,900 people have been detained. Hundreds of thousands of young people marched in cities worldwide today in a second wave of worldwide climate protests. The rallies began in New Zealand, where demonstrators crowded filled streets outside the parliament in Auckland. Elsewhere, there were about 180 protests in Italy alone, with more than 10,000 people marching in Rome. Back in this country, federal immigration judges accuse the U.S. Justice Department of unfair labor practices. A union representing the more than 400 judges alleged that a racist anti-immigration blog post appeared in a briefing. The union also said that judges are sinking under huge caseloads and that the department is challenging their right to have a union. President Trump tonight has signed a spending bill to keep the federal government open. It will fund federal agencies through November 21st. It gives lawmakers more time to negotiate money for points of disagreement, like funds for Mr. Trump's border wall. And on Wall Street, stocks finished the week on a down note. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost 70 points to close at 26,820. The Nasdaq fell 91 points, and the S&P 500 was down 15. Still to come on the NewsHour, building the future, Chinese construction, and the global balance of power. 2020 Democratic hopefuls vie for the crucial support of black voters in South Carolina. Mark Shields and David Brooks break down a week that may be destined for the history books. And Judy Garland back on screen. A new film depicts the last year in the life of the Hollywood legend.